oh, this isn't working. Like, bro, you didn't do a check-in for a month. What about the setter?
So that's the mistake I made. So because
If they do that, dude, they will always make money. Like, the only clients who don't make money are the ones who don't do that.
What's up, brother?
Where you coming in from? Here, actually,
Colombia.
Colombia.
Such a pleasure, brother.
Dude, yeah, so nice to, you literally flew all the way here from there?
Yeah.
Wow. Dude,
It's only a 2.5. Yeah, 2.
It's just like, I just love I love the commitment.
Just to give you a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I started this journey a little bit too late. Like I didn't have this mentality when I was in college, obviously. But when I was in Nashville, I was working for a big agency.
Yeah.
And I
Like
got
an ad agency.
Yeah,
Okay.
like a big agency, like huge in everything. Like,
Okay.
so I was stuck into a 9 to 5. Like I was a glorified freelancer, basically.
Right.
Learning a lot, doing a lot of things. But then I started checking out because I wanted to create my own thing, and that's when I started creating a growth agency, which I have now.
Okay.
And while I was creating it, I landed a big client too.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's great. So do you focus mostly on fitness?
No, not necessarily.
Just kind of happens.
This kind of like just like landed on my lap.
That's good. I've known him for a while.
And now it's a fully fledged system where I can tell online coach, online consultant, online mentor, online course creator, if you give me 5K, I build you an entire system that's just gonna get you leads and like clients on demand. I'll even put a setter, put a closer in the system. You literally just sit back and just start onboarding people.
Okay.
That's basically what it is. So it's called AVX. It's just my initials.
Okay. So let's walk through the stats. What are you doing a month right now?
Right now, just 3K for.
Okay, so 3K a month. That's your only client.
Yeah. When
Okay.
I was doing 50. I was doing 16K when I had this previous client. I also had, so I was with them, but they were half my employer, and then I had, but at the time they were paying me 5K. Now it's just a retainer.
Okay. So is this what he pays you a month?
Yeah.
3K? Okay, so you got one client and then you have a setter and a closer?
For the client, yes.
Like, do they do so let's say you had 5 clients, would the setter and closer work for all the clients?
Ideally, I get another setter to handle the other.
Okay, so, and then what's your goal?
With
3K a month, what do you want to grow it to?
60K by March next year.
Okay, all right, 60K. All right, and then you basically got him through, how do you get the clients right now? Just referrals?
Yeah, people that know me. So the way I have it set up now, it's a 5K for 4 months, and then after that, I jump you into a retainer, 3K. So you basically keep the software, which is a white label, go high level. It's white label, go high level for 5 months, and I build 4 months, and I build everything for you. Okay. Then after that, after it's all built out, it's 3K to keep everything. So you keep everything. I keep running your ads. Okay. Which are very simple, it's just lead gen.
3K a month to keep it, or explain that part again?
Yeah, so 3K to keep everything. So
forever, like a month?
Yeah.
Okay, so 5K for 4 months, you build this out, and then you keep it after it's 3K a month?
Yeah, and I keep running the
Has
ad.
anyone ran into this yet? I'm curious. And he kept paying it?
Yeah.
So when you build this for him, why does he have to keep paying it to keep it?
Because I keep running the ads for them too.
But what if he stopped running the ads? Would he have to pay 3K a month just to keep this?
I haven't run into that problem yet.
Okay, so that makes sense. So that what you're doing is you're still running the ads.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you literally turned off the ads and then
No.
I was like, damn, that's a really good deal for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know so much for them. That's why I was like, does he do? Okay, so 5K for 4 months. You build out their back. You basically it's like the funnel, the back end, etc.
Yep.
You give them a setter and closer, and you're in the ads. I mean, that's a lot for 5K, dude. I mean, that's like a lot. Like I feel like you could charge a lot more, honestly.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
So you have a setter and closer, so that's it right now, and then you just pay them commission, or how do you pay them?
10% commission on cash collected.
Right, and then what about the setter?
So that's the mistake I made. So because I was building this thing as I went, and their coaches were doing the closing, they were not performing. But that was looking bad into me because they thought like, obviously they're not gonna say that, oh, our coaches suck. No, it's like, it's always my fault, right? So I told them, let me get you guys a setter. He's gonna set you guys for the coaches. That didn't work out. My setter was giving them like qualified leads and everything, but they were not closing.
So that's when you got the setter and the
So I
closer.
told him, I'm like, let's just do a closer. But I didn't change that percentage. I kept it at 10%.
So the setter gets 10% too?
It's one guy. He's setting.
Oh,
and
he
closing.
does both.
Yeah, because I
Well,
didn't.
so does he get paid twice?
No, he just got 10%.
Well, that's fine though. That's fine.
Okay,
If he's doing both,
Yeah.
that you're actually getting, because usually what I would tell you for a setter is $1,500 plus 3%. So you're actually getting it cheaper than this is what I would have to do. So you're actually getting it cheaper for that's perfect.
Okay.
Okay. I like that you build this out. I think that's important. Our agent, I have an ad agency. We kind of do something similar. So like the funnel is the back end. I think it makes the offer better. The things I don't like that much is this and this. And like, I get why you did it, but the problem is, the issue is like, if you start scaling this and you have to get a setter and a closer for everyone and you're watching their performance, that's a lot of work,
That's
dude.
a lot.
Like
Yeah.
you're already running their ads, so you're basically running their whole company. You're running their whole sales and marketing.
Yeah.
That's a lot, especially for that.
Yeah.
So I think you gotta do one of two things. You either raise the price significantly and you go after these people, or you keep doing this, but you cut this out and you do like done with you on that part. So what I mean by that is you could keep doing the ads in the back end, but then this part is like you have scripts, you have templates, you show them how to hire, you show them how to train. Like it'd be like part of the coaching because bro, like that.
That's a lot of work.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I have a sales, because I've gotten big enough where I have division heads, and I have a guy who runs the ad agency. It's a lot of work. I have a guy who runs our sales training and recruiting, so where we'll find setters and closers. It's a lot of work, bro. And so like, if you really want to get to 60K a month, I think your best bet, based on your skill set, if you want to stick with this route, is it's either super high level clients where you're like, hey, I'm going to charge you, 10K a month, and I'll run your ads and I'll get you setters and closers. So then you have enough bandwidth and you also can run ads high enough for the cost of acquisition. I think the better bet though is like you go broader and you go low level. So I think like if you're gonna do 4 months, you need to do at least like minimum 2,500 a month, like minimum, because dude, it's just too cheap. It's too cheap. Like they can't do that. Like 5K for 4 months is super cheap.
It's nothing.
And so I think you need a balance. I think if someone can't do $2,500 a month for retainer, they're not a good client.
Yeah.
The next thing then is like, how are we getting clients? How are you getting clients right now? Like if you had to go out and get a client, what would you do?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I need guidance on, to be honest.
So obviously you know about paid traffic, so I don't have to spell that out for you.
Yeah.
And then you got organic. So for organic, when I started, I'm gonna give you a fitness example. This will translate well. I mean, obviously I've done this for trainers and business clients, etc. But what I did to start organic, and I'll just walk you through. So the one thing you said that I don't really agree with is I don't think you need to be doing that much content.
Okay.
When I started, what I did is, and this depends on your IG and how much you have, but like I'll walk you through. So the first thing I did is I was doing fitness, right? So I was like, I was in really good shape. I was super jacked, all that stuff. So I started messaging all my followers in the comment section. That's where I started. So I got all the juice, right? So anyone who's following you and stuff, like that would be where you start. Hey dude, like I would just reach out like, hey dude, thanks so much for following me. Like what's your goal with your business, right? That's how you could start. So then I would go to hashtags. So what I would do, and this is literally what I did. I'm not like saying this like as rhetorical. It's like literally what I did. So what I did is I looked for hashtags like fit mom, fit dad, like fit spo, like anything fitness. Okay. Now, a lot of people, when I would go there, dude, there'd be like 30 million like posts.
Yeah.
So for you, you might type in like business owner or like high ticket sales or like whatever to find your ideal clients. Okay. Now, what I did for fitness, and I'll give you business translations as well, is I would scroll as fast as I could, like on the phone, not this like I was like that until I saw like in the corner of my eye, I'd see a fat person or obese person, stop the screen, click on it, go to their profile, see if they were a fit. If they looked like they made decent money and they were overweight. So it's not that I know they need help, but I don't know if they want help, but they need help. You could tell because they're overweight. That was the easiest part.
Yeah.
The next thing that I want you to understand is like with this method, what I did on average is I would do 100 DMs, 30 would respond on average. And again, The reason you want to know these numbers is if you're not getting these numbers, what does that mean? You're not doing it right. Like if you send 100 DMs and you'll get 5 to respond, you're saying weird for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, 5 calls will get booked. Same thing. If you 30 respond, you only get 5 calls, less than 5 calls, you're probably saying weird. 1 to 2 close. So on average, this would take me about 5 hours. Okay, this would take me about 5 hours. So at the time, I was selling a $3,200 fitness program. So for 10 hours of work, I would make $6,400, which is about $640 an hour, which for a broke kid, that's pretty good money. That's good money for anybody.
Yeah.
So that was the process I did. And I did that over and over and over and over and over again. I'll walk you through the rest of the process, but this is how I started. And I just want to walk you through so you understand your options and what you can do and you can't do. And we'll talk about best practices. So I did that, okay? Now, once I reached out to these people, I'm gonna walk you through what the conversation flow was, because a lot of people, the goal is to have the conversation as quickly as possible without losing the sale.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would do is I'd reach out and I'd say, typically, let me start here. So like 1, I do a compliment. So you'll get this recording too. So if like it goes fast, yeah, you'll get the recording, all that, but just follow me through this. So I'd reach out and say, we'll stick with this. And then you could take it for like your example. So I'd reach out and say, hey, hope this isn't weird to say. I'm from like a family of 7 kids. I just had to say your kids are so cute, LOL. Hope that's all right, whatever. And the mom's like, oh my God, yeah, thank you so much. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Do you work or do you just stay at home with the kids? And again, if this was a guy, I'd say something else like, hey, like sick Corvette, dude, love that car. How does it drive? Oh, dude, I love it, da-da-da. Awesome, dude, like curious, like what do you do for work?
Yeah.
Very conversational. So compliment, do you work? They almost always are like, yeah, like I work. I'm like, cool, what do you do? They're like, I do this. And then I would go, does it keep you busy? Does it keep you busy? Everyone will say yes. No one will say no because it's like, hey, are you busy? You're like, oh no, I'm lazy. I'm never busy. Yeah. It's like, no one says that. So they say yes, and I'm getting them to say what I want. So then I go, got it. Does that make it hard to work out? Yeah, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. And remember, this is an overweight person, okay? So then I'm like, cool. Well, what's your goal? They're like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. I'm like, got it. What are you struggling with? Okay. Like, oh, I'm struggling with this and that. I'm like, okay, cool. What have you tried before? Mm-hmm. And remember, now that they're opening up, it's kind of a normal conversation. And remember, just make conversation like, yeah, I totally get that. Like, what, have you tried anything? Da-da-da. Yeah. Just make sure it sounds conversation. Don't be a robot like, what are you struggling with? What have you tried? Like that, okay?
It kills the
right. So then they'd say that, and I'm like, cool, have you ever had a coach? Okay. They're like, yeah. I have had a coach. I haven't had a coach. And then here, I would go, got it. And then I'd say, got it. Can I offer you some advice? I'll say
you ask for permission.
Yeah. So I'm like, exactly. So I'm like, got it. Well, look, I don't know if you care or not, but I do this fitness stuff all day long. I have some suggestions for you, but like totally only if you care. Like, I know it's completely out of the blue. And they're like, yeah, for sure. I'm like, okay, cool. So instead of typing out, 10,000 more text messages, LOL, if you're cool, I can just give you a quick call. Here's my number, what's yours? Most of the time they respond. And then I call them, okay? Now on the call, I just do the same thing. I don't even care. Build rapport. Hey, what's up? Yeah, what's your goal, etc. When the call gets to the end, I go, got it. So what I'll do next is I have a better understanding of where you're at, but I need more particulars of like your food preferences, your weight, stuff I'm not gonna remember. So what I'll do is I'll send you an email, fill that out, and then after that, we'll get back on a call and we'll go through it. Cool?
It's like a 2-step close.
2-step close, but it's organic. Organic, you gotta do this.
Okay.
Now, for you might do a 1-step. So after we do this, I'll go back through as a business one, because business, it's a lot more direct, so you don't really have to do this, but I want to walk you through what I did, and then I'll tailor it for you. So then I send the email, and the email, it's really an application. Yeah. So I have age, weight, height, food preferences, whatever. I don't give a about any of the answers. All I care about is there's a question that says, hey, so I help people, eat and train however they want for the rest of their lives. By the end of the program, you'll never need to pay for another one again. With that being said, are you willing to invest physically, mentally, financially? And then if they said no, I'd reach out and be like, hey, it's on your app, da-da-da. And I'd get them to say yes, or I wouldn't take the call. If they say yes, I take the call, right? So I take the sales call and then I close it. And I was doing $50,000 a month just doing that. Wow. That's it. Just that's it. So if I tailor this to you, comments and followers, you go to hashtags, your hashtags might be like high ticket sales, service-based businesses, click funnels, go high level, whatever, like, you know, you reach out and you're like, let's say it's me, you're like, Tanner, Tanner, what's up? Tanner, what's up, man? I love your, you know, Corvette. How's that thing drive? Usually for guys, it's gonna be something around ego. So like, just look for something on their page or a kid or whatever. Like, yeah, dude, thanks so much. I love it. You should definitely look into it. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm definitely looking into it. By the way, like, how's business going? It looks like you're crushing it. Yeah, dude, I am. Like, thanks so much for asking this and that. Yeah, what's the goal? And then from here, you really just cut this out and you go to the goal. So you're like, cool. Yeah, like, yeah, dude, like, what's the goal this year? If you don't mind me asking, like, what? It looks like you're crushing it. Oh, you know, I want to do 10 million. That's like, oh, awesome, man. Like, how's that going? Like, you struggle with anything in particular, or like things pretty smooth? And remember, because they're more like savvy of what's going on, you gotta just be very pushed back. Like, oh yeah, is it going good, or you have any issues, or is it going really smooth? Like, things going good? It'll get them to open up more because they'll feel like, oh, he's not trying to sell, he's genuinely asking, he's curious. And I'll be like, oh yeah, like, I mean, it's going okay. We're kind of struggling with ads. And you're like, yeah, dude, I've been there. I've ran ads for, you know, tons of high level clients. Like, what have you tried before though in terms of ads? Well, you know, I've tried this. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you ever had an ad agency or a coach? And they're like, nah, I don't know. It's like, okay, cool. Well, look, dude, I don't know if you care. But if you're into it, I've ran ad spend. Like, so instead of doing a 2-step here, I would do more of like the pitch for the call. So I'd be like, yeah, so dude, look, I mean, I don't know if you care or not, but I mean, I've ran ad spend as high as whatever, and these types of clients, like I work with and stuff, I'd be happy to get on a call with you and just like walk you through the process and see if it's a fit. And if they're like, yeah, that'd be great, then what I would do from here is you just are like, cool, if you're cool with this, fill this out. And then if everything looks good, we'll get on the call. And if I have any clarifying questions, we can. You can just push it straight to a sales call. So that's how that part works, okay? Now, once I had that part and I was doing about $50,000 a month, we started running ads, obviously, because that's how you're gonna scale. I'm assuming you do for most of your ads is you do opt-in page, VSL, thank you, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if this works for you, great, fantastic, run it. For me, you know, we've done 70 million in sales. The reason I was able to, I'll be straight with you, is like I never got this to work super well, like ever. And it's obviously possible, but I just never got it to work super well. And the way it always worked super well for me was Messenger, VSL, and thank you. And then from here, you know, it's like email, text, whatever. So that's that part. I'm not gonna go into like the ads and the funnels because I think you get that. It's very simple for you. But you can go straight to this if you want, but if you're worried about cash and you're just starting, which you just said, like you don't really have a lot of clients, this is where I would start. Yes, it's harder, but if you could get this to work, this is actually easier.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna walk you through my process. Like this is how I do all my sales calls, all right? So intro, pre-frame. All right, so it's like, hey, you know, welcome to the call. Super excited to talk to you. Tell me where you're from, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, great. So before we dive in, my goal is like just literally to help you. Yep. So I want to figure out what your goal is, what you're struggling with. You try it at the end. If you feel it's a fit, let's do it. If you don't feel it's a fit, let's not do it. Next thing is then obviously questions and discovery. So I don't have, like some people have a bunch of rules on this and whatever, but really it's just you need to understand the situation fully. Like you just have to understand, like even when we started with you, that's why you gave me background. So I'm like, okay, if I understand your situation, then I can give you good info. If I don't, I can't. So all I'm really doing here is, you know, goal, struggle, you know, what have you tried? Ever had a coach? Do you run ads? You know, what's your funnel look like? Do you have a team? Like all the stuff you're gonna need to know to diagnose the issue. Yeah. Once you get into the pillars, what I would recommend, you have what I call the 3 pillars. Now the 3 pillars, this is your pitch. This is you understanding them, and then this is your pitch why they should hire you over everyone else. Mm-hmm. Now, my main thing I wanna do in the pillars is I do what they do versus what we do, okay? What's the top 3 reasons why someone should work with you? And like two of them I have is, one is just, it's you. It's like your amount of experience, what you've done, the client accounts you've had. Like, you know, it's like, why should someone work with Bill Gates over, you know, Bob? It's like, it's Bill Gates.
Exactly.
Dude, right? I think that's one thing we can use.
Yeah.
All right, pillar number 2 is the 360 system, whatever you want to say. It just has to sound kind of buzzy.
They, what's it called? Alex almost is like, it's just create a framework, build a hype. It's something that I've been doing now on my shoulders. Like I'm throwing rocks at people who say, if you're a coach and you want to grow your business, just do organic ads. It's super complicated.
Yeah,
so I'm throwing rocks at them. I'm just saying,
dude,
I do something called the ads renaissance, and people are like, what the is the ads?
Yeah,
renaissance?
okay, that's perfect.
So like, it's like I build a structure that lasts forever.
Here's how I'm looking at it. One is you. I'll explain this in a second. So one is you. One is the ads renaissance, which is the back-end systems, the marketing. What's something else that really sets you apart?
I'm building trainings and stuff so that their marketing team.
Right. So that's what I was just about to go to. So we just got to come up with a name for that. Whatever. We'll come up with it later. You're smart enough to get that part, so I think you get that. So it's just a buzzword, right? So here's how it would sound. Okay, so it's like intro, pre-frame. Hey, do this on the call. Okay, what's your goal? I understand the situation. I'm like, okay, cool. So the next thing I'm gonna do is go into what I call the 3 pillars. And the 3 pillars is gonna break down for you why you should work with me over anyone else in the industry and why I'm gonna be the best option for your business, okay? All right, so the first thing is what I call University X. Now, what most agencies do, okay, so this is where this comes in.
Gotcha.
What most agencies do, because they just come in, they just run your ads, that's it. And that's not enough, because you have a sales process, you have setters, you have all these things. So what I'm gonna do is, not only are we gonna run your ads, of course, but I'm gonna give you access to our University X, where we give you setter scripts, sales scripts, show you how to follow up with your team, how to hire, train. Like, that's the coaching part. That's like, that will make you more valuable, because not only are you gonna run their ads, like, dude, think about it. If you coach people and run their ads, that's what a lot of people want. They're like, you'll help me with this and run my ads? Wow. Okay, so that's the first thing. So you're basically saying most agencies only run your ads. I'm not only gonna run your ads, I'm gonna actually show you how to hire, train, like whatever you can help them with the business, right? Okay, so that's number 1. Then you're like, makes sense? Yeah. Pillar number 2 is what I call the ads renaissance. Now again, what most agencies do, they just come in and they just work with whatever you have. They don't update your funnels, they don't help with the emails, they don't help with the text. Here's the thing. If you don't have a good follow-up system, you are okay? Running an ad and crossing your fingers does not work. If it did, more people would be rich. And so the third pillar is what I call CMOX. Now, because I've worked with massive brands, they say whatever you want, you're like, this is you like promoting yourself now. So this is like strategy, you, authority, right? So I would go, well, I've worked with brands like, whatever you feel comfortable saying, like, I work with brands like, and this and that, and I ran ad budgets as high as X amount a month. And so you're not getting a low-level media buyer like most of these companies where they give you, John Polo and Mumbai. Like, you're getting me. All the other agencies, idiots. Me, I'm the best. Like, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay? So once you do that, you're like, any questions? They're like, they'll ask, and then you just make sure, again, the whole point of the call is we want to raise certainty as high as possible. Okay, if someone is certain, they will buy. Even if they don't have money, even if they need time, they will buy if they are certain that what you have is what they need. The reason people don't buy is they're not certain, period.
Yep.
All the other objections are bullshit, really. So here I'm like, any questions? Yeah, and then I'll do a brief program overview. Okay, now that's very short. I'm talking like 1 to 2 minutes. So like, cool, so just so you understand when you come in, like I said, you get the University X, you're gonna get the funnels, the email templates, et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna run your ads. 7 days in, we'll plus print, whatever. You're just giving them kind of a breakdown so they can conceptualize
like
what you're doing.
Like a quick onboarding. Like, this is what's gonna happen in the first.
Very simple. Now from here, you're gonna go for the close, right? Or you could do a temp check. Some people do a temp check, like scale 1 to 10. I don't really like that, but the point is they're trying to raise certainty. They're trying to see if they're uncertain before they drop the price. You want to make certainty as high as possible for you to do it. So when you're doing the close, you got 4 objections: price, spouse, time or stall, right? I need to think about it.
Yeah.
And then you got belief. Okay, so I'll walk you through all this. Now, the most common I usually get, especially for like higher 5-figure packages, is this, for sure. So what you do, you're like, all right, so the price of the program is 10K. And they're like, oh, okay, that's too much. And you're like, totally get it. No problem. Before I talk about the price, Is there anything besides that concerns you? Do you like the program? Do you want to join it? It's literally just the price. If they say no, it's like, okay, what's up? You got to raise certainty. If they say yes, that's the first tie down. So is there anything besides price? No, it's just price. Boom. Okay? Got it. So just to be clear, if we can figure out something financially that works for you, you can move forward today, correct? I can move forward today. Awesome. Okay, that's a double tie down. You need both of those before you move on. If you don't get those, you're f***ed, because what will happen is if you start solving the price issue and they don't tie down, they're just gonna say, oh yeah, it's great, I really appreciate it, but I need to think about it. No, f*** that. Okay. If I'm gonna fix the price for you, you're coming in today. That's how it works. It's gotta be a fair deal.
Gotcha.
So what I do here is that I do cash on hand, okay? So I go, cool. So the way I like to help you in this situation is I just need to understand exactly where you're at. So if you can, tell me what cash you have available. So credit card, savings, bank account, whatever, like what cash do you have on hand? And they're gonna do one of two things. Let's say your program's 10K, all right? So let's say your program is 10K for 4 months, or what are you gonna charge? Just so we can use the number you're actually gonna use.
The one I use now is 5K, but...
Okay, so let's do that. Let's just stick there. Okay. Now, let me ask you this question. What is the lowest amount? So you want to sell it for 5, but let's say like someone just doesn't have 5, like they literally don't have 5. What is the lowest amount you would take? And maybe you're like, I won't go lower than that, but like, is there a lower number you will take if they don't have 5 grand? Like is that the lowest you'll go?
Yeah, that's so low.
So that's the lowest you're gonna go. Okay. Let's say your program's 10K, but you'll take at least 5.
That's like a deposit or?
No, it's a downsell. So like, so let's say like you sell your program for 10K, but if someone is super broke, you'll take 5 and you'll just give them the same service. Okay. Now, I think people should do this more often, because what happens is when you have a set price and you won't move it, if someone comes in who you can help and get money from them and they just don't have 10, you're losing out on a lot of cash for your business. And remember, you have expenses, like you have ad spend, you have employees. So sometimes, like, let's say I got a couple deals for 5K, I'm like, well, that pays for ad spend, that pays for employees, like, so that's fine, right? Now, when you're doing it yourself, you might not do this, but like, think as your team grows. I do this with my team where sometimes I'm like, look, as long as they have this number, take it.
Gotcha.
They don't know that, and we're not trying to do that. We're trying to get the full amount, but if they don't have it, it's like, what do you have? Well, I have this. Our option is you take it or you lose the sale. That's your only option. So you'll sell it for 10K, the lowest will go is this. So if they'll go like, okay, so I got 7,500. Okay? Well, if they have 7,500, you could probably put it on a payment plan. So I'm like, okay, cool. So you want to do it, you just only have 7,500, right? Yeah, great, no problem. What we'll do, we'll go ahead and put that down and put the rest on a payment plan. Sound fair enough? Yeah. If they say, no, I'll go, so what's the ideal situation for you? And they'll tell you. They'll be like, well, I was thinking like, if I could do like, I don't know, 2,500 a month. If they say that, you're like, cool, all right, 2,500 a month, it's a 4-month program, great, that still works. Okay, whatever. If they say something like, well, what's an ideal situation? They go, well, $1,000. You're like, well, look, like I can't go below 2,500. What can I do to help you maybe get there? Like, what can I do to help you? And then they either do it or they off. Okay, so that's like if it's a scenario where they have enough, but they just don't have the full amount up front, right? And someone's like, well, do you do payment plans? Usually what I say is, well, I prefer to take it up front. Does that work? I always say that because I want upfront money. Let's say the lowest amount you'll take in a 4-month is 5K. So that's about $1,250 a month. So you go, cool, so what's your cash on hand? And they go, well, I only got about $1,250. Okay, so in my head now, I'm like, all right, they can't do 10 because that's not enough for 4 months, but 5 divided by 4 is $1,250. So I go, okay, cool. So just so I'm clear, you only have $1,250, correct? Okay. All right, so let me ask you this. If I can work something out for you financially, are you still wanting to move forward today? Okay, I ask this first. I don't do this after. I do it first to get the tie down. Well, no. I mean, like, I'm just asking. Like, there's no pressure. But if I figure out something financially for you, are you able to move forward today? Because if I'm going to do that, I want to make sure that you're committed to moving forward. That's all. No pressure. Yes. Okay, cool. So here's what I'll do. I don't usually do this, but what I'll do for you is I'll have you put down $1,250 today, and then we'll do the rest on the payment plan. It's under 3 conditions. First is you work hard, you don't complain, okay? You're not gonna be a problem client. 2 is you don't tell the other clients you got a discount, because there's clients who pay me 10K. I'm making an exception for you because you only have 1250. And then 3 is you move forward today. Okay, if you could do that, I can get that deal for you. Sound fair enough? They'll move forward. Now, if they say no, you go, well, look, there's no pressure. I'm here to help you. But if you don't move forward today, then if you come back, you need to pay the full price, because like I'm trying to help you. Like, I don't usually do this. That's how you apply pressure to get them to move forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my case, just for my business, say, yeah, I need to have a minimum, because I also want to make sure they have.
No, for now you can't do that, because like you got to be more stringent when you're by yourself, because it's too much work.
Yeah.
Like you can't. You get what I'm saying? Because it won't be worth it for you. But when you get bigger and you have a team, that I do this all the time.
Gotcha.
When I was starting, it's like, nah, dude, it's like you got to pay, because I had to do all the work. So it's like, that's not worth it for me to do it, because I could just get a different client.
Okay.
Spouse. So very easy here. Yeah, I just got, or business partner. You're going to get business partners a ton. I hate this one, but it's, so you go, so what are you going to do if they say no? Okay, they're going to do one of two things. I swear to God, it's so funny. Well, I'll do it anyways. I'm like, all right.
What do you need permission for?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get you signed up. Okay? And sometimes like, well, I still, you know, I'm going to do it anyways, but I have to, whatever they say. But sometimes they'll just move forward. Now, if you say, well, what if they say no? They go, well, I wouldn't do it. You're like, okay. What would their objection be? Right?
Yeah.
And they go, well, you know, it'd be price. Let's say they say price. Well, guess what you do?
The same.
Ah, so it's just price. Okay, so let me just, so if we figure out the price, you're able to move forward today. You just literally go to number 4, and like that's usually what they do, okay? Now, let's say what will happen sometimes is you'll go through this and you'll figure it out. And yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, but I still got to talk to them. It's like, oh my God, bro. So then what you do is you go to past agreements. Past agreements just means you go, okay, so, you know, I totally understand you're trying to be respectful of your business partner. I love that. Question for you. Do they know that you're on this call? Yeah. Do they know you're struggling? Yeah. Do they support you like getting better? Yeah. Okay. And if the roles were reversed, you support them? Yeah. Okay. So if they know you're here and they support you and you support them, why would they be against you doing something that's going to help the business and they are supportive of, right? If they still say no, then you do what's called delayed payment. I do a lot of delayed payments. Now, that lady you had on the call, this is exactly what I would have done with her. So if you're going through a sales call and they just will not make a decision, right? I don't know what the stats are for you, but I can tell you for me and my company, if they do not put down a credit card on the call, the chances they come back is like less than 5%. You're not gonna grow a business off that. Like you gotta get decisions on the call. So what I do is I go, well look, I'll tell you what. I know you wanna talk to your business partner, so let's do this. You wanna do it, you just wanna check with them, right? That's all it is? Great. So what we do in this situation is we'll go ahead and have you put down a deposit, and then if you go talk to your business partner and he comes back and says he doesn't want you guys to make more money and be more successful and get your ads ran by me, you know, if he says that, just let me know and I'll send you the refund back. Sound fair enough? And then I'll close there. If they still don't do it, I'll just be like they're probably not coming back. Like that's just because it's, think about a refundable deposit. There's zero risk. If you give me $1,000 right now and I ghost you and block your number and you go to Chase and go, I want to charge back.
Done.
It's done. So whenever they're like, I just don't want to do that. I'm just like, dude, like there's no risk. Like you need to do it, okay? For staller time, they're like, I need to think about it. So the way I do it's a little different. Some people, you know, they're like, well, what do you need to think about? And that's really to kind of, you know, because they're not really thinking. It's usually some, you could say that. The other thing I like to say is I go, do you know what the word decide means in Latin? They're like, no. I'm like, it means to cut off. So what we're deciding today is, are we cutting off the future of your dreams or your passive inaction? Because because not making a decision is still a decision, okay? So, there's 3 questions I want to run you through, and if you're able to answer these, you're actually ready to make a decision. Are you cool if I coach you through that? Yeah, okay, cool. So the first is, do you think it's more likely or less likely you'll hit your goal working with me? They're like, well, more likely, right? It's like, why would it be less likely if they worked with you? You go, do you believe I'll deliver what was promised? Okay, so it's like, do you believe I'll deliver what was promised? It's like, yeah, for sure. Like, okay, yeah. And then you go, do you have cash on hand or know someone who does, right? Cash available. They're like, yeah. It's like, okay, so based on that, you actually have everything you need to make a decision. Making decisions takes information, not time. So based on that, I think you're ready to move forward. Does that sound fair enough? And then a lot of times what they'll do is go, right? And then you do delayed payment. This delayed payment is going to be a bread and butter for you, because if they, no matter what objection they say, if they really just need to think about it, if they really just need to, you know, talk to their business partner, it's like, great. You want to do it. So as long as you wake up tomorrow, you want to sleep on it, and as long as you feel the same way you do right now, you're going to do it, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like, great, that you can do a refundable deposit. If they still don't, they're just usually full of shit.
Yeah.
Okay? On belief is very easy, because this is they're just scared. Like, I'm sure you have kids, they're scared. So I just go, what's the worst thing you can imagine? Right? I'm like, what is the worst thing you can picture happening? And they're like, well, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. So let's walk through that, right? So there's really 3 things that can happen. Now, this is dependent if, like, do you have a guarantee in your program or no?
First 30 days, if they're completely I'll
there
just
you go,
return the
perfect.
money.
So what you do is you do it, and you get results, and everyone's happy. That's what we want. Boom. You do it, and you don't get results, you get a refund. All right? And then you do nothing, you stay stuck. So out of all 3 of those decisions, the only one that ensures you stay stuck is number 3. The first 2 is actually 0 risk. So based on that, knowing that there's no downside and there's only upside, let's go ahead and get you moved forward. Sound fair enough? If they do the same, delayed payment. So delayed payment is your last ditch effort. You only do delayed payments after you've worked through the objections over and over and over. So I'm not saying, like, if they say no here the first time, you go to delayed payment. What I'm saying is, like, let's say you did this, you're like, I don't know. And you're like, well, dude, like, let's talk. You keep doing, you keep going. And then finally 10 minutes later, you're like, all right, dude, well, I'll tell you what. That's your last ditch effort on every call. I don't leave any call without asking for a deposit. It's just pointless. The only time is, like, occasionally if I get someone who's like, I'm not making a decision today, I'll still ask, honestly. No, I didn't take it back. I'll still ask for that. I always try to get decisions.
Gotcha.
I'll give you our performance guarantee. So this is for 16 weeks, so 4 months. Mm-hmm. They have to do 2,000 messages, okay? So they have to start 2,000 messages. They have to take 15 sales calls, okay? And they have to do a weekly check-in. Now, the way we look at this is, it's like, look, there's no way that if they send 2,000 messages, they won't get 15 sales calls. And at 15 sales calls, if they can't close like 5, then we should give them a refund. If someone literally hits that, that's trash, dude. Like, they look at that and they're like, yeah, so are you willing to do that? Like, in 4 months, does that seem fair? That's 1 call a week, and like, what is that? Like 50 messages a day, it's nothing. They're like, yeah, like, okay, that sounds fair. It's like, okay, so for you, what you would want to do is, like, maybe you could say something like, you have to have your, you have to get me your VSL and videos back within 7 days.
Gotcha.
So you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, because like, let's say some customers, they pay you, and then it's like, takes them 3 weeks. So like, oh, what the f***, like, I have another payment coming. It's like, bro, like, hurry up.
Yeah.
In our agency, what we do is, I think we usually stagger it by a week. So it's like, they pay today, like 7 days later, we'll do the second, like, we'll start the month. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
So give them like a week stagger. So like, you'd be like, stuff to me within 7 days.
Yeah, okay, that's super important.
And it also applies pressure, right? So it applies pressure. You can also say, like, attend sales trainings. Like, I don't know, like, if you have, like, part of what you can do in your program is you have a sales training where it's like a group call and you, like, do sales training, right? Whatever. It's just the stuff that, like, this stuff will become more apparent to you as you get clients as well. Because the clients who do well, you're gonna, like, okay, what are they doing? And the clients who do bad, what are they doing? If they do that, dude, they will always make money. Like, the only clients who don't make money are the ones who don't do that, like, every time. Yeah. Like, we look at their stuff like, oh, I just got busy and like, whatever. And we're like, bro, like, that's not on us.
Yeah,
you know?
Those are the things I need to think about. Like, what are those deliverables?
I think the first one is definitely they get stuff to you within X amount of days. Like, if they're holding you up, that's not on you. So you got to think the stuff that, like, you can't control. There might be, like, attend X amount of sales trainings or, like, weekly check-ins. Like, for us, we make them do weekly check-ins because, like, sometimes clients are like, oh, this isn't working. Like, bro, you didn't do a check-in for a month. We didn't know what the f*** you were.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions?
I don't think so, man.
Okay, you're good, dude. Okay, so he's gonna do like
Yeah,
of course, bro.
Thank you so much.
Of course, man.
Thank you. So I think mentorship and what Tanner's doing is incredible. Like, unbelievable that he's taking his time to help people. So I would have told myself 3 years ago, like, get a mentor to help you lay out the steps, and I would have been in a much better position. But now that I got that, I'm super excited. Like, I'm in a much better place now, obviously, than I was 3 hours ago. So I'm so glad I flew all the way here. Short notice, but there's nothing else but gratefulness and super thankful.